Hi everybody, it's Roxanne checking in. I did a video most recently talking about this young man named Jose and the sheer, coincidence slash God moment it was to meet him and to be of service to him. And if you're curious, go ahead and check out my last video. I do a lot of talking about, how kind of God moved in my life, but also spending time looking at these moments and recognizing them when you see them. And it's not always easy because we're pretty stuck in our heads when we have MS. But on a different note, I talked about a fundraiser that I did and how amazing it was to see how everything kind of fell together so beautifully and how people were just fantastic. And for little old me, like I said before, I only had to show up and be willing to take it all in and to be any kind of person I needed to be to make that stuff happen. And I decided sometime after all of those amazing situations happened to move to New Hampshire. And it was because all of my husband's family was in New Hampshire, and we spent a whole heck of a lot of time with my people. And the truth is this, is that, as an MSer and you have a support system in a husband or in a significant other, it's really hard to not make everything about you because we're on it every day. We think about these things every day, and we want people to understand how horrible it is sometimes or how wonderful it is depending on the day. But then also, when I went out there, I was like, oh my goodness, there is nothing out there. There are no support services that I'm familiar with because I'm from Colorado. And really, Denver, Colorado is the epicenter, I swear, of MS services, MS programs, MS, it really is the place you want to go to get the right neurologists and things like that. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to get out there, but I have to go out in faith. And it was interesting because I went out there, and at first it was a little weird, hit or miss, but I ran into an amazing physical therapy person, and through Merrick Spine Center, it was Dr. Merrick, and then his most amazing physical therapist, Lynn Jessie, and she was just so sweet and so progressive. And when she wasn't there, she was like a martial arts expert and whatever else, and she didn't mind coming and kicking my butt, and I didn't mind it either, because I feel like my fight or flight mechanism really pulls out some serious energy and moments where you wouldn't expect them. So anyways, I went there and I started doing all these kind of new physical therapy type things, and I got a new neurologist, and she was amazing. And I can believe how plugged in she was and how excited she was to be a part of my plan. And I told her, I said, I've had MS for a while. I have MS genetic monster. And I also have done the CCSVI treatment that didn't work well for me. But now I want to try the stem cell transplant in Chicago. And look it up online. You can find something on YouTube, and it's Dr. Burt. And it's I think it's at the Memorial Hospital out in Chicago. And it was so crazy because she was like, you know what, Roxanne? You've been through it and you know what your body does. So let's try. And she was on board. And it wasn't something that was approved. It was a trial basis. And I can't even imagine how that could be scary for somebody in the medical field to just say, hey, let's go do it. And honestly, before I did it, I had a moment when I had to stop taking all my medications so I could have a fresh start with the Chicago stem cell thing. So I had 4 months off of Tysabri. And oh my goodness, it was scary because I didn't realize how scary it was until I got about 3 months in. And my face started having this drop. It looked like I had some kind of a stroke or something. My face started drooping. And like I drink water and it just fall out the side of my mouth and stuff. And it was like, that's not good. And honestly, it sounded like I was drunk and I was having a real hard time articulating. And if you haven't gathered that since I've been talking to you guys, this is kind of a pretty important part of my person. So she was amazing. She said, you know what, you're going to go do this trial. Why don't you do some plasmapheresis? And that was just to get my body back in gear without having to add any new medications. And look it up, Google it, ask your doctor. And it's amazing. Like I'm telling you, really put me back to a comfortable baseline. And then I said, okay, well, shoot, I have to raise some money to go do this. And I told my physical therapist about this. And I told them about my experiences that I'd had with the center and some of the people I've ran into. And I even told them the story about the guy on the airplane and the landlord's niece. And if you're curious, watch the previous video. But I'm telling you, this physical therapist / chiropractor, Dr. Merrick, he just was so helpful. He bought so many gift cards to raffle off, and I didn't know anybody out there, but they really made it happen. There was a massage therapist that was doing $5 chair massages, and it was just amazing. And these were all people I didn't know exactly. I knew them, but I hadn't known them for life like I did some of the people in Colorado. But they were so excited to be a part of my journey. I can't deny that was it. I want to say it's fate, but I feel like people get plugged in to my crazy and God's, crazy, and it's all very crazy and exciting. But anyways, so, and the cool thing was this, I had to raise, a couple thousand, probably about 5,000, so I could survive out in Chicago for 2 months. And my husband as well, and you're thinking about paying for housing and whatever else, and we didn't have enough money by the end of it. But we were supposed to get out there in December, and we just went. We just went for it. We didn't have enough money. We didn't have everything together. But so how the stem cell stuff works. It's like this thing where they go in and they kill your immune system with insane amount of chemo. And because you lose your hair and all these other things, and it's not a very, dude, I got to experience menopause, and I'm not looking forward to it when I get there for real. Because that's what happens when you do this chemo. And then what they do is they give you this stuff that helps you generate brand new clean stem cells from your bone marrow. And they don't have to go in physically to do it. It'll pull it out into your bloodstream. And then they go and use one of these machines similar to the plasmapheresis machine. And they pull it all out, and then they keep it. And then they give you a bunch more chemo to make sure all of your MS signals and whatever part of your immune system that says MS is a thing, they try to get rid of it. And then they give you the stem cells back, and they call it your birthday because you get a brand new chance with a clean whistle. A clean plate. It's a whole thing. It's crazy. And I had this moment where I thought, oh my gosh, when I get that back, I'm going to hear some God noises, and it's going to be beautiful. But stem cells. But no, that is not what happened. I was so sick from the chemo, and they were putting the stuff in, and I'm like, okay, this is terrific. Thank you. And I kind of harped on the floor. And it totally took the romance out of getting my stem cells in the birthday of brand new stem cells. But that's how my life works. I always get like a funny turn on everything, or a crazy turn where you can be like, really? I don't want to puke on the help. That's horrible. But I lost all my hair, but I had 2 full years of no disease modifying drugs. And it was amazing. So check this out. I reach out to a church in Chicago because going out and not knowing anybody is crazy. You don't know where you're going to go, where you're going to start, how you're going to make it happen. And when I went and did my assessment, they let me know that I was getting the compassionate care program, which means even though it was a study or it was a trial, I was going to get the actual stem cell treatment, which was really exciting. And I had to pay for a room that was pretty cheap. It was like $80 a night, but it was through the hospital. And it was so awesome because they called me and they said, by the end of the week, you're going to qualify for the free room for the whole time of your stay at this hotel. And we didn't have enough money. We didn't have the resources to make it through those 2 months. You're talking about food, you're talking about gas, you're talking about parking, you're talking about any little thing that a person might need. And it was kind of crazy because all of it kind of came together so beautifully. So I was getting the treatment for sure. I was getting this free room. It was called a patient first room through Chicago hospital. But it was insane because I had connected with this church that I mentioned before because I was trying to get a community of people so I wasn't out there in space. And they decided they wanted to meet with me and my husband because they want to know who you are and when you're asking for help, if what the angle is. And these 2 beautiful women showed up and they were so kind and so sweet. At Chick-fil-A, I think they wanted to go in a public place to make sure that we weren't crazy, which was awesome. But then they invited us to visit their church, which was really great. And it was crazy because it was in a big old elementary school. And the way their church works, it was like, we have church wherever. It's wherever we fit, we go there. And the people go. And that's how it works. And it was so amazing. And so it was nuts because when we went to church, would you believe they handed us a check for $1,000? We went out on faith, in faith. And we didn't have enough money. We didn't know how we were going to do it. We just knew that I needed help. And all these pieces came together. And I can't deny it. I can't. What do you say? You say, hey, what the heck? I was going to probably be cold and broke and a little sick from the treatment. And my poor husband, he didn't get to stay with me in the hospital, so he had to pay for a hotel stay while he was out. But since we got the free room, it made everything so much easier. By the way, Dr. Bird is amazing. Look him up on YouTube so you can get an idea of how this stem cell transplant works. So what I'm saying is this. These beautiful people in New Hampshire, including my physical therapist and my new neurologist, and then I go to Chicago where I know nobody, but then this beautiful church says, hey, we're going to go ahead and give you $1,000 to survive while you're out here. Also, we end up in the free room, and it was just, it's probably the most amazing thing. But here's the other thing. We had parked at the hospital, and we thought for sure we were going to owe our butts because we were parking in that place for 60 days. And, have you ever parked in a, parking space where you have to pay some money? We thought we were going to have to shell out some real cash by the end of it. And would you believe when we left, they just said, hey, it's $7. We had enough money to get everything we needed while we were out there. We had connections we needed while we were out there. We ended up in the places where we can afford things rather than suffering the whole time. It can't be denied. So, anyways, my point is this. If you go out in faith sometimes, I feel like all the time, but it doesn't always feel like it goes the way that we want, you'll be amazed to see how the pieces come together. And honestly, the stem cell treatment worked for 2 years and then it stopped working. And like I said, with the genetic marker and all this other crazy stuff, I'm kind of used to it. And it was a little disappointing, but another opportunity for me to see God move. And without a doubt. So anyways, everybody just, try to have, even though life is hard with us, try to have an attitude of gratitude, all those little things, but also to open your eyes to see these blessings that we don't pay attention all the time. And also, even if you don't have much, seize an opportunity to bless somebody. And like that, I'm a listener. That's my blessing to people. I'm like, I don't got any money, I don't got any health, but if I can listen to you and give you some positive feedback and help you have a sounding board or something, okay, I can do that. I can bless you with that. So, okay, guys, I'll catch you on the flip. And I look forward to the next time to bug you. Okay.